The closer we get to the release of the Rings of Power and the more glimpses that we get at what Amazon has in store for everyone, the more cringe it becomes. Because it seems like every interview, every clip, every single thing that comes out in some way, shape, or form has actual Lord of the Rings fans either angry or laughing at it. And when it comes to laughter and mockery, definitely this little clip of Galadriel is in that category. This got put out, I think, yesterday at some point. This is It's a Gundam. Oh, this show is going to be roasted for years to come. And in fact, we'll open it up here. It's just her. It's Galadriel. Here, you can see it one more time. Galadriel getting launched off of a sword in a CW cartoonish fashion. That's what we have in store for Amazon's Rings of Power, because Galadriel, she's just so strong and powerful, just like we saw with this clip of her supposed to be looking just so badass and powerful. Galadriel, the warrior Galadriel that everyone's excited for in Rings of Power, despite the fact that actual Tolkien fans have come out and said, what are you trying to do to this character? What are you trying to do to this story that he wrote? But once again, as we've seen time after time, the people that are involved with the Rings of Power series, they've been telling us all along that this was written with modern day politics intertwined with it. That's why they're changing Galadriel's story. That's why you have characters like this coming out and saying, you know what, they just gave all the female characters such agency, and just like I'm an activist, my character gets to be an activist too. Lord of the Rings of Power actress Nazanin Boniandi, I think that's how you say it, says her character is an activist, credits Prime Video writers for giving female characters agency. And we talked about this story about a week or two ago when some of the quotes came out there, but now we actually have the raw video of her saying exactly this at San Diego Comic-Con. Actress Nazanin Boniandi, who plays Bronwyn in Lord of the Rings, recently described her character as an activist, while also crediting the Prime Video writers of the show for giving female characters agency. And we may as well listen to her. I think we have the tweet right here.
What I love about the writers on this show is that they have given every woman on the show, every female character, such agency. We don't serve the men around us. We have a storyline in our own right.
I'm so glad that Amazon is just busting up barriers, because we've never seen that before. We have never, in the history of television, ever seen a female character that had their own agency, that didn't serve the men around them. Finally, thank you, Amazon. You've brought that. It's not like we actually did see that in Lord of the Rings or anything either. Crazy.
And for Bronwyn, she is a healer, but she also taps into her inner lioness. And I, as an activist, as a long-time human rights activist for my homeland, Iran, tapped into what I believe is, thank you. I tapped into what I believe women are doing for my homeland in playing this character, in sort of liberating and redeeming the Southlanders who back, in her ancestors' days chose evil over good.
Right, and so when you do hear people come out and say, guys, listen, it's not going to be influenced by anything, then you have so many of the people involved with this saying the exact opposite. I think we all know where this is headed for Rings of Power. It's one of the reasons so many people continue to talk about it and continue to mock it whenever something new like this comes out. But even one of the actors themselves who's been preaching about the diversity and the representation, even he blew up Amazon's own narrative, as Bounty in the Comics put it. Because like I said, you've had so many people come out here and pushing this narrative that Tolkien needs to be changed, that it needs to reflect the modern world, that the things that Tolkien wrote, it's not acceptable, it's not okay, and they need to change it. It's what you heard the showrunners say. It's what you heard the executive producer, Lindsay Weber, say. It only felt natural to us that an adaptation of Tolkien's work would reflect what the world actually looks like. You heard this actress, Sophia Namvet, talk about how it was a necessary act of redress. We need to change all the ways that we've been depicted in entertainment before and change Tolkien to be for everyone. Well, it's interesting, isn't it, that Ishmael Cruz Cordova, who plays Arendir, said that he wanted to be an elf when he was a kid. How could that be possible when none of them looked like you? How in the world could it have been possible? Here's his quote. In a recent interview with Entertainment Weekly, he detailed he, quote, wanted to be an elf since I was a little kid. Crazy, huh? He even recalled pretending to be an elf and using an imaginary bow. And then, of course, later on in the interview, he brought that up again. He was like, but, you know, even though I wanted it, even though I saw myself as it, considering there was nobody that looked like me, it felt like a dream. It felt like a fantasy. Yet nonetheless, guess what? It is a fantasy. It's a fantasy tale. Nonetheless, you wanted to be that character. You saw yourself in these characters. Weird how that can happen even when they don't look like you. Amazon's Rings of Power is a complete and total disaster. And the more that the cast, the more that the producers, the more that the people involved with this continue to expose what they've been doing and how they decided to make this, the more fans are going to be resistant to it when it actually comes out. And especially when this is the kind of stuff you're coming through with, the flip off the sword that looks like CW level graphics. This is what we're talking about from Amazon's Rings of Power series, the most expensive series ever made. This is going to be a disaster. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.
Thanks for watching, everyone, and a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.